my name is Siti Amira Luthfiyah, and in this video I want to presentate about Project 1 of Morphology subject, and this is the part 1 about parts of speech. Okay, the first one I will try to explain the definition of part of speech. What is part of speech? Part of speech are categories that classify words according to their functions in a sentence. In English, there are 8 main parts of speech: noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Okay, so the first one, let's discuss about noun. What is noun? Noun, a word that names a person, place, thing, or idea. For example, the first one, the students reads a book. In the sentence, students and book is an examples of noun. And then the second example, she works at the hospital. In the sentence, hospital is a noun. And the last example, traveling gives me great happiness. Happiness, example of noun. The next one, we discuss about pronouns. What is pronouns? A word that replaces a noun. Types of pronouns. There are several, like 7 types of pronouns. Personal pronouns, possessive pronouns, reflexive pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, interrogative pronouns, relative pronouns, and indefinite pronouns. Example, she is kind. This is the she in the sentence is the example of personal pronoun. And the second example is this cat is mine. Mine is an example of possessive pronoun. The next one, we discuss about adjective. What is adjective? A word that describes or modifies a noun or pronoun. For example, a beautiful flower. A beautiful itself is an example of adjective. And the second example is it's a sunny day. Sunny in here in this example is adjective. Okay, the next one is adverb. What is adverb? A word that describes or modifies a verb, adjective, or another adverb. Example, he runs quickly. Quickly is an example of adverb. And the second example is the task was quite easy. Quiet in here in this example is the adverb. And the third one, she sings almost perfectly. Almost perfectly is an adverb. Okay, the next one we discuss about preposition. What is prepositions? A word that describes relationship with other words in a sentence. For example, the book is on the table. On in here is preposition. And the second example is she walked to the market. To in the sentence is an example of preposition. Okay, now we discuss about conjunction. A word that connects words, phrases, or clauses. For example, the first one, I wanted to go out, but it was raining. But in this sentence, it's an example of conjunction. And the second example is, she studied hard and passed the exam. This is the and in the sentence, an example of conjunction. And the last one, we're gonna discuss about interjection. A word that expresses emotions or reactions. For example, wow, that's amazing. And the second one is, hey, watch out. Okay, that's all about the first part presentation. Now let's move into the part 2 of our project 1. So here we're going to discuss about case study. We have 5 case study right here. The first case study. During an interview, a non-native speaker says, I unlike going to crowded place, but my friends like them. Morpheme identifications. I, un, like, go, in, to, crowd, ed, place, as, but, my, friend, like, as, them. And here we have 16 morphemes. So the classifications is, we can see the free morphemes, I, like, go to, crowd, place, but, my friend, them. And the bound morphemes is an, in, ed, and s. The functions of the prefix an and the suffix s. The prefix an is a derivational morpheme. It changed the meaning of the base word like into its opposite meaning. unlike which means not like. So, "un" adds opposite meaning to the word. The suffix "s" is inflectional morpheme. It adds grammatical meaning but doesn't change the basic word class. In places, "s" shows plural form, more than one place. In likes, "s" shows that the subject, my friend, is third person singular. And then, according to morpheme-based theory, Luthfiyah, 1933, words are made by combining small meaningful units called morphemes. For example, "un" plus "like" forms "unlike," and "like" add "as" from "likes." Each morpheme adds meaning or grammar. Meanwhile, lexeme-based theory, Aronoff, 1976, focuses on the process of adding affixes. The prefix "un" is a derivational process, creates a new word, while "s" is an inflectional process, change the form for grammar. And then the second case study. A local English magazine editor confuses the following pairs: manage into management, talk into talking, hope into hopeful, play into played. Identify which morphemes are inflectional and which are derivational. Manage into management, meant in here is derivational, and talk to talking, ing in here can be inflectional or derivational depending on the use. As a verb form, present participle talk to talking is inflectional. But as a noun, ing behaves like a derivational affix because it creates a noun form, a verb. Hope into hopeful, full in here is derivational. Play into played, ed in here is inflectional. The difference in meaning, grammatical function, and word class change. The derivational morphemes change lexical meaning and often change the word class. Example, manage, verb into management. Management is a noun. The derivation often creates a new dictionary entry, a new lexeme. Meanwhile, inflectional morphemes add grammatical information without changing the basic lexical meaning of or the word class. Example, play into played, still a verb. Cat into cats, still a noun. Inflection produces different forms of the same lexeme rather than a new lexeme, so still has same meaning but different tenses. And this is, you can see, the derivational sequence using three structures: management and hopeful. We discussed about morphological principle. According to Luthfiyah, 1933, morphology studies the internal structure of words and how morphemes combine. He distinguishes inflectional morphemes from derivational ones. Similarly, Aronoff, 1976, word formation in generative grammar explains that the derivational morphology changes the lexeme, word meaning, or class, while inflectional morphology modifies the form of a word to fit grammatical context. Okay, and now is the third case study. The case is, a student claimed that went is the past tense of go because of the ed rule. You are asked to evaluate this statement. The first one, why when cannot be explained through regular morphological rules? When cannot be explained by the regular ed rule because it doesn't come from the same root as go. It is an irregular form that comes from the old verb when, not formed by adding ed. And then we are asked to define suppletion and identify at least two other examples in English. Suppletion happens when different forms of a word come from completely different roots. For example, go to went, good to better, am to was. And how suppletive forms are represented in mental lexicon according to morphological theory. Suppletive forms are stored separately in our memory, not made by rules. However, our brain links go and went together because they share meaning and grammar. According to morphological theory, regular forms like walked into walked and generated by rule-based processing, while suppletive forms like go into went are memorized as irregular items in the mental dictionary. Aronoff, 1976, word formation in generative grammar explained that suppletion represents an extreme form of irregularity where no morphological rule can derive one form from another. Lieber, 2010, introducing morphology, adds that suppletive pairs are lexically stored because their relationship is based on grammatical function, not form. Next one is the fourth case study. The case is you encounter these expressions in a student's essay: greenhouse effect, blackboard, smartphone, pickpocket. The first one, they compose each word into its constituent morphemes. Morpheme decomposition. The first one is greenhouse. Greenhouse, green plus house. Blackboard, black plus board. Smartphone, smart plus phone. Pickpocket, pick plus pocket. Pocket. And then identify whether each compound is endocentric or exocentric. Type of compound. Greenhouse is endocentric, a kind of house. Blackboard, still endocentric, a kind of board. Smartphone, still endocentric, a kind of phone. Pickpocket is exocentric, not a type of pocket but a person's. And then the next one, we discuss about how stress pattern affects compound interpretation. Compound words usually have stress on the first part. Blackboard, compound noun, okay? And the second one, blackboard, adjective plus noun, any board that's black. Stress helps show whether it's one meaning or two separate words. According to Luthfiyah, 1933, compounds join two roots into one lexical unit. Lieber, 2010, explains that in headed compounds, the right elements gives the main meaning, while in the exocentric ones, meaning comes from context. And the last case study, analyze the word unbelievableness. The first one, we are asked to identify and classify each morpheme, free or bound, inflectional or derivational. Un is a bound and derivational. Believe is a free and lexical. Able, bound and derivational morpheme. Ness is a bound and derivational morpheme. And here we can see the morphological tree diagram. You can see un affixes, believe as a verb, able affixes, and ness is affixes. The next one, we discuss about how both derivational and inflectional processes interact to create a final word. The first one starts with the root believe as a verb. Add the derivational suffix able makes believable, which is adjective, meaning can be believed. And the third, add the derivational prefix un makes unbelievable adjective, meaning cannot be believed. Add the derivational suffix ness makes unbelievableness as a noun, meaning the state of being unbelievable. And then inflection can come after the derivation, for example, adding s, unbelievableness, plural form. This is for another form. And then the interactions is the derivation change the word's meaning and class, while inflections only adjust grammar, like plural or tense, after the word is fully formed. According to the derivational morphology theory out of 1976, affixes like able and ness change the grammatical category of the word, while prefixes like un change the meaning. Meanwhile, the level ordering hypothesis, Siegel, 1974, explained that English affixes are added in specific levels or stages. First, able, attached to the verb believe, then un and ness are added later. This ordering explains why unbelievableness sounds natural and correctly formed. In short, unbelievableness shows how the derivational morphemes interact in a specific order to produce a complex noun from a simple verb. That's all about my presentation of Project 1, Part 1 and Part 2. Thank you for your attention and see you in the next video. Bye!